Hello everyone, welcome to this week's confirmation class video lesson. I hope you're all well and enjoyed half term last week. So this week I'll start off by just showing you the answer sheets. But first of all, well done to people who sent in the front pages, the idea of the prodigal son, updated those, and also the idea of the updated versions of the stories. Particularly liked the one that it was an old lady trying to cross a road that was passed by a businessman on his phone, a teacher on her way to teach a class at school, and eventually it was a teenager that helped her to get home. So well done. So these are the answers to the prodigal son answer sheets. So you might want to just pause the screen and just check that you've got the right answers. And if you haven't, just write the right answer in. So that's the crossword. This is the word search. Okay, and this is the anagrams. Oops, get the right then. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to give you another fun activity, and I'll do that at the end of the video, just once we've gone through this subject today. I've also sent your parents, your grown-ups, an email, and on the email are 2 attachments which they'll need to download. And if you could make sure that your grown-ups go through them with you. And when you go through them, one is a PowerPoint. You'll need to have a paper and a pen ready and answer the questions that the PowerPoint asks. And next week I'll go through the PowerPoint and we'll explore some of the answers that you could give to some of the questions that are being asked. You need to think about those questions because the questions that just don't have one right answer. There's lots of ways you can answer them. So you just think how you want to answer those questions and we'll go through them next week. Now, the ideas we're going to be thinking about this week is the idea of a church, the idea of a church. And I'm going to start by reading a Bible passage, and it's from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 16, beginning at verse 13 to 20. So I'm going to read it, and as ever, there'll be a short 5-question quiz at the end of the video, which you'll need to answer to see how well you've been listening. So if you haven't got something to write with now, pause the video and go and get something to write with. And then I want you to get a modern language version of that, either up on your laptop or computer or tablet, or if you have a modern language Bible at home. And as usual, don't read a traditional version, traditional language version, because it's just very confusing. Just type into Google Matthew 16, 13 to 20 and get a good modern translation like the New International Version or the Good News Bible. And this story is the story of the disciples gradually realising just who Jesus is. And then from that idea of the 12 disciples being around Jesus, the idea that from those people, what became the church grew. And if you listen to the story, you'll realise why Peter was chosen to be the kind of idea of a basis for the church. So this is Matthew's Gospel, chapter 16, 13 to 20. Jesus went to the territory near the town of Caesarea Philippi, where he asked his disciples, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" "Some say John the Baptist," they answered. "Others say Elijah, while others say Jeremiah or some other prophet." "What about you?" he asked them. "Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." "Good for you, Simon, son of John," answered Jesus. "For this truth did not come to you from any human being, but it was given you directly by my Father in heaven. And so I tell you, Peter, you are a rock, and on this rock foundation I will build my church, and not even death will ever be able to overcome it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. What you prohibit on earth will be prohibited in heaven, and what you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven." Then Jesus ordered his disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. So that story shows the disciples beginning to realize that Jesus wasn't just an ordinary man, even a great man, or even a prophet. He was actually the person that everyone had been waiting for, called the Messiah. And they realized that he was the Son of God. And from that realization that Peter made, that he said, Peter said, Jesus, he recognized at that point, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Jesus uses those people as what he calls the rock, the foundation, to build the organization, the community, which will grow up to be his church. Now, there's two things to realize about this. One is the church is actually the group of people. And we're going to be thinking about how we use our church building to express our idea of belonging to a community, a group of people. But actually, the word church applies just as equally to the people who belong to each other as a community as it does to the actual building. And secondly, that at your confirmation, when the bishop lays hands on your head, and we believe the Holy Spirit comes down at that point, you then become full members of the church, because you'll have said the words that were said for you when you were christened, when you were baptized. So at your confirmation, you'll become full members of this community, the church. And this story we've just had, it goes right back. That's the very start. That's the foundation of the church, which is the community of Christian people worshipping together. Even though we can't go in church at the moment, we're still worshipping together. We're having these confirmation class lessons, and I'm doing some vlogs on YouTube as well. That you might want to watch some of the 60-second ones. And it's this idea of belonging to a church, which we're going to be thinking about now for the next few weeks. But that story is called Peter's Confession of Faith, and that's where the idea of the church, that's where the church starts. Right, so here's the quiz. So if you've got your paper and pen at the ready, write down the answer, and then I'll go through the answers at the end and then give you the fun activity. Right, so which town did Jesus go to territory near to? Which town did Jesus go to territory near to? Question 2. Who was the first person that the disciples said some people were saying Jesus, or it says the Son of Man, is? Who was the first person the disciples say that he is? Question 3. Who were the others? Who were the other people that people were saying Jesus was? Question 4. Who does Simon Peter say Jesus is? Who does Peter say that Jesus is? And question 5. What did Jesus say he would build on the rock foundation? What did Jesus say that he would build on the rock foundation? And here's a bonus question. What does Jesus tell Peter that he is? What does Jesus tell Peter that he is? Okay, so here's the answers. Answer 1, Caesarea Philippi. Answer 2, John the Baptist. Answer 3, Elijah, Jeremiah, and other prophets. Number 4, the Messiah, or as a bonus, the Son of the living God. So if you got those both, you can give yourself an extra mark. And number 5, my church. Answer to the bonus question, a rock. So if you have all those right, give yourselves a pat on the back. If not, you've got to go back and listen to the whole thing again and do it until you get them exactly right. Now, I said I'd give you a fun activity before I go, and this is your fun activity for this week. Imagine you were one of the disciples when Jesus was talking with them about who people thought that he was. Now, there were no photographs then, there were no cameras, so what I want you to do is to draw a picture which would help you to describe to someone Jesus telling Peter that he was the rock, the foundation of the church. Now, you can be as imaginative as you want to on this. You can use actual pictures of a church, pictures of a rock. It doesn't have to be absolutely realistic. The idea is you're getting the idea over that Peter and is the foundation, the rock that the church is going to be built on. So I look forward to receiving your imaginative illustrations of that scene. So thank you for watching. I hope you get on well with the activities. Please do get your grown-up to be with you when you are answering those questions of about the PowerPoint, and we'll go through them next week. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.